Stop. Listen carefully. This is not just another video, not just another motivational speech you've heard 1,000 times before. This is a direct communication to your soul. God is speaking to you now. And if you are hearing these words, it is no accident. This moment is a divine intervention, and it is happening now for a reason. The universe, the higher powers, God Himself has brought you to this moment. He's been waiting for you to hear this message because it's time for you to awaken. For so long, you've been struggling. You've been fighting. You've been pushing yourself past your limits, trying everything, trying to make something work, something that always feels just out of reach. You've poured your heart and soul into your goals. You've sacrificed your time, your energy, your peace of mind. And yet, after everything, something still feels off. Does that resonate with you? You know something is missing, but you can't put your finger on it. Something is telling you that despite all your effort, despite all the hours you've put in, despite all the challenges you've overcome, there's something deeper that isn't aligning with who you really are. And God knows. He knows exactly what you've been doing, how hard you've been working, and how it's affecting you. He sees the struggles you face, the battles that no one else sees, and the silent pain that you carry. God sees it all. But here's the truth. You are not struggling because you're doing something wrong. You're struggling because you've been working for the wrong reasons. You've been living a life that is not fully aligned with your divine path, your higher calling. What if everything you've been working for, everything you've been striving for, isn't actually meant for you? What if the reason you feel stuck, the reason your efforts feel unfulfilled, is because you've been chasing the wrong things? The career, the relationships, the goals you've been pursuing, they may not be part of God's plan for you. God knows this, and He wants you to know it too. You are not here by mistake. You are hearing this because this is your awakening. God has been patiently waiting for you to realize that you've been chasing after things that aren't aligned with who you are meant to be. You've been following paths that lead you away from your true purpose instead of toward it. It's time to make a shift. And God knows that you're ready for that change. Think about it for a moment. What if everything you've worked for, everything you've strived for, isn't what's truly meant for you? Isn't it exhausting, though, trying to make things work that feels so forced? Why has it been so hard? You've been pushing so hard. But what if the effort you've been putting in is exactly why things aren't flowing the way you desire? God knows why. It's because you've been working for the wrong reasons. There is nothing wrong with wanting success, wanting happiness, wanting wealth, wanting peace. But if your pursuit of these things has been based on the wrong foundation, on the wrong values, or out of alignment with your soul's true purpose, you will always feel like you're missing something. Like you're constantly running, but never reaching the finish line. But now, this is the moment where everything shifts. This is your opportunity to stop running after what isn't meant for you and to start aligning yourself with your divine purpose. It's time to release the weight of feeling like you're never good enough, like you have to prove yourself over and over. The weight of striving for things that don't align with your true self, with your spiritual essence. It's time to stop that endless cycle. It's time to let go. And most importantly, it's time to listen. God is speaking to you now. He's telling you, you've done enough. You've worked hard, but it's time for you to stop working for the wrong things. It's time for you to stop doing what you were never meant to do. Can you hear that? It's not about abandoning your dreams or your passions. It's about shifting your focus from a place of striving to a place of receiving. It's about aligning yourself with your divine path, the one that leads to your true happiness and fulfillment. This is the key. Alignment with your divine purpose. Maybe you've been trying to make things work with all your might. Maybe you've been grinding, forcing, pushing, hoping that if you just give a little more, work a little harder, it will finally come. But God knows your true fulfillment is not in the struggle. It is not in force. It is in flow. It is in being aligned with what is truly meant for you. You are a chosen one, and the universe has already paved a path for you. But you've been walking a different road. You've been following the wrong path, but God knows the right way. Take a deep breath. Right now, in this moment, you are being called to awaken. to shift. This is your moment of truth. This is where you stop the chase and start listening to the whispers of your soul. God knows what your soul needs, and He's telling you it's time to stop working for what isn't yours. The truth is, you can't continue to ignore this feeling inside. That nagging sense that something isn't right. That feeling of being stuck. You know, deep down, this life, these goals, this struggle, it doesn't feel aligned. And you're not alone. God is always with you. And today, He's calling you to stop. He's calling you to stop chasing after what's been eluding you and to start listening to the pull of your heart. It's time to stop. This is where your journey of alignment begins. When you stop, when you surrender the chase and say, God, show me the way. No more forcing things to happen. No more doing what doesn't feel right. No more pushing, struggling, and exhausting yourself just to get by. It's time to trust that God knows what you need and is bringing it into your life effortlessly when you stop forcing and start receiving. You are meant for greatness. But greatness doesn't come from constant toil. It comes from alignment with the divine plan. God has a path set for you, a path of peace, prosperity, joy, and abundance. When you align with that path, everything flows. You don't have to push. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to chase anymore. God's plan for you is filled with everything you need and more. But you need to stop and allow it to unfold. God is telling you, you don't have to keep fighting, keep struggling, keep pushing yourself to the limit. Your purpose is already unfolding in front of you. But first, you must align with it. You must trust that what is meant for you will come naturally when you stop fighting against it. This is the shift you need. This is your moment. Your time to release the struggle, trust the process, and embrace the abundance that is already yours. God knows the path. He knows the way. And now it's your turn to walk it with faith and confidence. You no longer have to chase after what is not yours. The only thing you need to do now is stop, listen, trust, and receive. The life you've always wanted is already on its way, and it's far greater than anything you could have imagined. Take a deep breath. You are on the path to greatness. God knows your heart. He knows your purpose, and He is guiding you every step of the way. Let's be completely honest. The cycle you've been stuck in hasn't been easy. It's been filled with frustration, confusion, and doubt. It feels like you've been fighting a battle that you can't win. You've been putting in the work, trying to do everything right. You've tried following the steps, hitting the goals, checking the boxes. And yet, things haven't worked out the way you expected. And you know what? That's okay. God knows why it hasn't worked out. He knows exactly why you felt stuck, why you felt like something's missing, and He understands the deeper reasons behind your struggle. God knows what has been weighing on your heart, and it's time to talk about it. You've been chasing success at all costs. You've believed that the more you do, the harder you work, the more you sacrifice, the more you will receive. You thought that success was tied to your effort, to your hustle, to your sacrifice. But somewhere along the way, you lost sight of what success was really about. And deep down, you felt it. God knows success isn't about how hard you work or how much you sacrifice. It's about alignment. God knows that this constant chase, this endless striving, is not the way to find fulfillment. You've been running a race that doesn't have a finish line, and no matter how fast you go, it always feels like you're falling short. But God knows this path is exhausting, and He's calling you to stop running in circles. For some of you, the cycle looks like the constant chasing of external validation. Every day, you're trying to fit into a mold that isn't meant for you. You're looking for approval from everyone around you. You want to be accepted, appreciated, and acknowledged for your efforts. But what happens when you don't get that validation? What happens when the applause is quiet or when the recognition doesn't come? You feel empty. You feel unseen. You start questioning your worth. You start thinking, if I don't get approval from them, am I even good enough? God knows the truth. Your worth isn't determined by the approval of others. It never was. The answers you've been searching for are not out there in the opinions of others. They're within you. You've been looking outside, thinking someone else has the key to your success, to your happiness, to your sense of fulfillment. But the key has always been inside of you, waiting to be unlocked. God knows you have all the power you need inside of you, but you must stop seeking approval and start trusting your own intuition. Start listening to the still small voice inside of you, the one that's been whispering to you all along, telling you that you are enough, that you are worthy, that you don't need anyone's approval but God's. For others, the cycle is all about chasing money and success. You've convinced yourself that if you just reach the next milestone, the next promotion, the next big deal, you'll be happy. If I can just get enough money, enough success, enough recognition, I'll be content. But have you ever noticed that once you reach that goal, the feeling doesn't last long? The joy fades, and you're left feeling empty again, needing the next thing, the next achievement, the next milestone. God knows this cycle. You've been so focused on achieving that you've lost sight of what truly brings fulfillment. Wealth doesn't equate to happiness. Success doesn't equal worth. And yet, we've been told that these are the measures of a successful life. But God knows that the true purpose of your life is not to accumulate wealth or check off achievements. It's to align with His plan for you. It's to find peace, fulfillment, and joy that come not from what you do, but from who you are in Him. Your worth is not tied to your achievements. Your worth is tied to your relationship with God, and that's what will bring you the peace you've been seeking. Others of you are stuck in a pattern of people-pleasing, constantly trying to meet the expectations of everyone around you. You say yes to everything. You help others, you support them, you give, and you give, and you give. You give so much of yourself that there's nothing left for you. Your energy is depleted. Your spirit is weary. You've been running on empty for so long, and yet, when it's your turn to ask for help, when it's your turn to receive, you find that no one is there. No one steps up to support you in the way you supported them. God knows your heart. He knows how much you've given. He knows the sacrifices you've made, the countless hours you've spent helping others, and the emotional energy you've poured into their lives. But God knows that you cannot continue giving to others at the expense of your own well-being. You cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. God knows that the cycle of people-pleasing must stop. It's time to start seeking validation from within, not from the approval of others. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to keep saying yes to everything just to be liked, to be accepted, or to be valued. Your value is inherent. You are loved by God, and that's all the validation you need. These are the cycles that God knows need to break. The endless pursuit of empty validation. The chase for money and success at the cost of your peace. The endless giving without receiving. These are the cycles that are keeping you stuck, preventing you from stepping into the life that God has intended for you. God knows that you are meant for something greater, something more fulfilling, something more aligned with your true purpose. But first, you must break free from these cycles. You must stop chasing what was never meant for you and start listening to the guidance of God, who has a better plan for you. A plan that will bring you peace, happiness, and fulfillment, without the need for constant struggle. It's time to stop. Stop chasing. Stop forcing. Stop seeking approval. Stop trying to fill the emptiness with external things. Because God knows what you truly need, and He is ready to lead you to the abundant life you've been searching for. It's waiting for you. But first, you must stop the cycle. Now, let me tell you this. You are not defined by the cycles that have kept you trapped. God knows you are capable of more than this endless chase. You are stronger than the struggle you've been facing, and this is your moment to rise above it. The road ahead is bright, filled with opportunities that are in perfect alignment with your true purpose. When you stop fighting the current and trust in God's plan for you, you will step into a future that feels like freedom. A future where you no longer have to chase validation, where your worth is already established in God's eyes. A future where you find joy, peace, and fulfillment without the endless striving. God has already prepared the way for you, and all He is waiting for is for you to stop the chase, to stop the struggle, and to embrace the abundant life He has promised. This is your moment to transform. This is your time to break free from the cycle that has held you back and step into a life of ease, of purpose, and of true fulfillment. You've done enough. Now, it's time to let God lead you to where you've always been meant to go. Trust the process. Trust that the best is yet to come. You are ready to receive everything you've ever dreamed of. It's time to stop the cycle and embrace the abundant life waiting for you. Your future is bright, and it's all yours for the taking. Now let's dive deeper into something that's been holding you back. You've been struggling for a reason. Yes, you've been feeling the weight of it all. Days filled with challenges, obstacles, and hurdles that seem to come out of nowhere. But what if I told you that the struggles you've been facing aren't just obstacles to hold you down? They're part of something greater. God knows the pain you've been feeling, the frustration, and the sense of being stuck. And He's not surprised by it. But here's the hidden truth about your struggles. They are not meant to break you. They are meant to shape you. Your struggles are tools. Tools that God is using to mold you, to strengthen you, and to awaken you to your true potential. Think about it for a moment. For so long, you've believed that success and happiness come only through hard work. You've convinced yourself that the only way to move forward is by grinding nonstop, pushing yourself to the limit, and sacrificing everything. You've been conditioned to think that if you just work hard enough, if you just give more, if you just keep moving, the breakthrough will come. But God knows that this constant struggle isn't the answer. You are not meant to exhaust yourself in this way. The work you're doing is not aligned with your true calling. You've been chasing after things, running down paths, doing things that were never meant for you. And God knows. This is the exact reason why your efforts haven't paid off the way you expected. You've been working so hard, but the truth is you've been running after the wrong goals. This is where it all changes. It's time to stop. Yes, you heard me right. It's time to release the struggle and step into a life of ease. Now, I know this may sound counterintuitive to you. It might even feel a little uncomfortable to hear, because for so long, you've been told that success is tied to your grind, to your hustle, to nonstop work. You've been led to believe that the harder you work, the more successful you will be. But God knows, true success is not about working harder. Success comes when you are in alignment with your divine purpose. When you are in alignment, everything will flow naturally. The blessings that are meant for you will come to you effortlessly. For some of you, the struggle has been a constant battle with self-doubt. You've spent countless hours doubting yourself, questioning your worth, and wondering if you're even good enough. God knows the pain you've felt. But here's the truth. You've been looking for validation in the wrong places. You've been searching for someone else's approval. But the truth is, the only approval you need is from within. It's time to stop looking outside for the approval and recognition that you've been craving. God knows your heart, and He has already validated you. You are enough, exactly as you are, without needing to constantly prove yourself. Let me ask you, how much longer are you going to keep chasing after things that aren't yours? How much longer are you going to force yourself to work harder and harder, thinking that success will come through sheer effort? It's time to stop. It's time to trust in God's plan for you, and understand that the more you try to control everything, the more you resist the flow of blessings that God is waiting to pour into your life. Your success, your peace, your divine inheritance is already on its way. All you have to do is stop chasing, stop forcing, and start receiving. Now, let's talk about something else that's been keeping you stuck: unforgiveness. It's a heavy burden, isn't it? The grudges, the hurt, the pain from the past, you've been carrying them for so long. The people who've hurt you, the situations that didn't go as planned, the mistakes you've made, the regrets that keep resurfacing. And yet, you carry it all with you, thinking that somehow you have to hold on to it in order to protect yourself. You keep wondering why things aren't moving forward in your life, why success continues to slip through your fingers, and why peace feels so out of reach. God knows the pain you've endured, and He's ready to heal you. But there's something you need to do first. You need to release those wounds. You need to forgive. Forgiveness is not about letting the other person off the hook. It's not about condoning what happened. Forgiveness is about setting yourself free. It's about releasing the grip that the past has on you. Because as long as you hold on to the anger, the resentment, and the pain, you are bound to it. And as long as you are bound to your past, you will continue to struggle in the present. God knows your heart, and He knows the weight of what you've been carrying. But He is calling you to let go, to release those past wounds, and to step into your future. The breakthrough you've been praying for is tied to your ability to forgive. Until you forgive, you will remain stuck. It doesn't mean you have to forget what happened. It doesn't mean you have to let the person who hurt you back into your life. Forgiveness is for you, for your freedom. God knows that when you forgive, you free yourself from the chains that have been holding you back. It's time to stop carrying the weight of the past. God knows the pain you've endured, and He is here to help you heal. But you have to make the choice. The choice to let go, the choice to forgive, and the choice to stop living in the past. Because when you make that choice, you open yourself up to a future filled with healing, peace, and restoration. Imagine a life where you no longer carry the pain of past wounds. Imagine waking up every day feeling lighter, feeling free, and feeling aligned with your true purpose. God knows the life He has for you, and it is a life full of abundance, peace, and fulfillment. But in order to step into that life, you must stop carrying the baggage of the past. God is ready to heal you. He is ready to restore you. But you must choose to step into His healing by releasing those old wounds, forgiving, and allowing yourself to move forward. God knows you are ready for this transformation. You are ready to break free from the cycle of struggle and begin walking in the abundance that was always meant for you. It's time. You've carried enough. You've struggled enough. You've fought enough. God knows you are ready to step into a new season. A season where the struggle is no longer part of your story. The pain, the hurt, the cycles of disappointment, they don't define you anymore. God is leading you to a new chapter, a chapter where you receive His healing, His blessings, and His abundance with open arms. Now is the time to let go. Let go of the past. Let go of the struggle. Let go of the unforgiveness. And let yourself step into the healing and peace that God has prepared for you. Your breakthrough is on the horizon, but first, you must release. Now that you've come to understand the weight of your struggles, the reasons behind the intensity you've felt, it's time to shift gears. The time has come for you to leave the old cycle behind and to step into a new chapter of your life, a chapter where struggle doesn't define you. God has a divine plan for you. A plan that doesn't revolve around endless hustle, exhaustion, or sacrifice. It's about alignment. You see, for so long, you've been caught up in a cycle that told you the only way forward was through hard work and constant effort. You've pushed yourself beyond your limits, thinking that success is something you must chase down, something that can only be earned through struggle. But the truth is, God knows the path you're meant to walk. God knows that this constant pushing against what is not meant for you is holding you back. Your true potential is not on the other side of exhaustion. It's on the other side of alignment. So, how do you align with your true purpose? The first step is simple, but it's not always easy. It's trust. For so long, you've been trying to make things happen on your own. You've been setting goals, striving, and giving your best effort, thinking that success lies in your hands. But God knows, the more you try to control the situation, the further you move away from your true purpose. The first step to alignment is trust, trusting that God has a plan for you, and that His plan is far greater than anything you could have imagined for yourself. Trust is letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life. your career, your finances, your relationships. For years, you've believed that if you just got it right, if you could just figure it all out, then happiness, success, and peace would follow. But the truth is, you can't force things into place. The more you try to control the outcome, the more you actually hold yourself back. God knows this need for control is a trap. It's a trap that keeps you stuck in the same patterns, going in circles, thinking that the harder you try, the more you will achieve. But real success, real fulfillment, is not about control. It's about surrendering. Releasing control isn't easy. It means letting go of the reins and trusting that God knows the path. It means trusting that you don't need to have everything figured out right now. The answers will come when you stop trying to force them. And I know it's hard. It's hard to trust when the world around you demands that you always have a plan, that you always have control, that you are always in charge. But let me tell you something powerful. God is in charge. He knows what's best for you, and His timing is perfect. When you let go of control, you open yourself up to the flow of blessings that have been waiting for you all along. God is guiding you. Let go of the need to direct your own path and allow God to lead you where you need to go. You've been carrying the burden of trying to do it all yourself. But it's time to put that down. The stress, the constant worry, the need to have everything in your control, it's draining you. And I know that you're tired. Tired of trying to push, to force, to hustle every single day. You don't have to live like that anymore. God knows the life He has for you. And it's one of peace, one of flow, one where you no longer have to work against the current. Instead, you can float downstream, trusting that each step will lead you closer to your purpose. Once you begin to trust and release control, the next step is to receive. This is the shift from chasing to receiving. For so long, you've been in pursuit of something, whether it's success, recognition, wealth, or validation. You've been chasing after these things, believing that they are the key to your happiness. But the truth is, these things are not the key. The key is alignment with your divine purpose. And when you align with that, everything you need will come to you naturally. It's time to stop chasing. You've been running, racing, trying to make things happen, but God is calling you to stop and start receiving. You've been so busy trying to make it all happen that you've missed the blessings that are already waiting for you. The moment you align yourself with your true purpose, you will see that the doors of opportunity will open effortlessly. Your purpose is not found in the endless grind. It's found in peace. It's found in alignment. It's found when you stop fighting and start receiving. You've been searching for peace outside of yourself, thinking that it's something you need to earn. But peace is a state of being. It's not something you work for. It's something you align with. It's a gift that God gives when you are in alignment with your true purpose. When you stop trying to chase after things that aren't meant for you, you will find that peace is already within you. I know it's hard to imagine, especially when you've been taught that success requires constant hustle and nonstop effort. But I want you to understand that true success is not found in the hustle. It's found when you trust that God knows the way and you allow yourself to walk it. The path before you is not about struggle, it's about flow. It's about allowing things to come to you rather than chasing after them. God knows the path, and He is ready to show you the way. It's time to align with that path and watch as everything falls into place. In order to align with your true purpose, you also need to release the false beliefs that have held you back. You've believed the lies that you have to hustle to succeed, that you have to prove yourself in order to be worthy of success. But God knows the truth. You are worthy simply because you are His child. You don't have to prove anything. All you need to do is align yourself with the divine purpose He has for you. Stop trying to prove yourself to the world and start trusting that God's plan for you is better than anything you could have imagined. When you align with your true purpose, you will begin to see abundance flowing into your life. This is not just about wealth. It's about abundance in every area of your life. In your relationships, your health, your career, your peace. God knows the abundance He has in store for you, and He is ready to pour it into your life. But first, you must stop the chase, stop the struggle, and trust that everything you need is already on its way. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to fight for it. You just have to receive it. This is your moment. Stop the chase. Release the struggle. Trust God's plan. You are meant for greatness, and God has already prepared the way for you. When you align with your true purpose, everything will fall into place. Success, peace, joy, and fulfillment will flow into your life naturally. God knows the path, and it is one of ease, peace, and abundance. All you need to do is trust, release control, and allow yourself to receive the blessings that are already on their way. Let's talk about something that might sound strange to some of you: surrender. This is a word that often gets misunderstood in today's world. For many, the idea of surrendering feels like giving up, like losing control, or like admitting defeat. And yet, in reality, surrendering is the most powerful thing you can do. It is not about giving up, it's about giving in. It's about giving in to God's plan for your life. Surrender is the act of letting go. Letting go of the need to control every single aspect of your life. Letting go of the fear, the doubt, the overwhelming sense of uncertainty that you've been carrying for so long. You see, God knows the way. God knows exactly where you need to be, what you need to do, and when it's time for you to move. But for so long, you've tried to take control yourself. You've carried the burden of figuring everything out, of managing every aspect of your life on your own. But here's the truth. You don't need to do it all yourself anymore. It's time to release the burden and trust that God has a plan far greater than anything you could imagine. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you felt like you had to do everything yourself? You've been carrying the weight, striving, pushing forward, always feeling like the next step is something you have to figure out on your own. You've probably felt overwhelmed by the thought that you're responsible for every little thing. But the reality is, you are not alone. God knows exactly what's ahead for you, and He's already prepared everything for you. You just need to trust. You don't need to stress about the next step or worry about what's coming tomorrow. All you need to do is surrender to His will and trust that He is guiding you to exactly where you need to be. When you surrender, you stop swimming against the current of life. Think about it, life can feel like a constant battle. Every day, you're working, pushing, striving, trying to make things happen. But the more you push, the harder it becomes, doesn't it? God knows this feeling. You've been trying to make progress on your own terms, against the flow of what's meant for you. But surrendering means letting go of that fight. It means releasing the need to control every outcome. Now, I know that sounds challenging. I know that it's difficult to let go of the need to control your circumstances when life feels uncertain. But trust me, when you surrender, everything begins to change. You begin to align with the flow of abundance, with the natural rhythm of the universe. You stop fighting against what is coming and allow God to lead you to exactly where you need to be. God knows exactly where you're going. He knows the journey ahead, and He has already paved the way. He has already prepared everything you need to get to where you are meant to be. The steps you need to take, the decisions you need to make, the opportunities that are waiting for you, they're already in place. But in order to step into them, you must surrender the need to control. Stop swimming against the current. Allow God to be the one who leads, guides, and directs you. The need for control is one of the biggest barriers to peace. You've been carrying the weight of trying to figure everything out, trying to micromanage every detail of your life, every situation, every relationship. But that's not your job. God's job is to guide you, and your job is to trust. When you release the need to control, you create space for God to move in your life. Can you imagine what it would feel like to let go of the constant worry, the constant pressure to have everything figured out? Think about it. How much energy do you spend each day trying to control things? How much of your mental and emotional energy goes into trying to manage every outcome? trying to predict every possible scenario. It's exhausting, isn't it? But surrendering means letting go of all of that. God knows the way, and He's inviting you to stop trying to carry the burden alone. When you surrender, you free yourself from the pressure to be in control. You stop worrying about the next step, and you trust that God will guide you to exactly where you need to go at exactly the right time. The peace that comes with surrender is unlike anything you've ever experienced. It's like the weight of the world is lifted from your shoulders, and you're able to walk forward in faith and confidence. When you stop resisting, when you let go of the need to control everything, God opens the floodgates of abundance. God knows that you are ready to receive. You've been trying so hard, pushing yourself past your limits, chasing after what you think you need. But true abundance isn't something you have to chase. It's something you receive when you're in alignment with God's will. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you stopped fighting and started receiving. What if you stopped striving and started trusting that everything you need is already on its way? God knows what you need, and He's ready to provide it. But you must stop fighting and start receiving. This is where the flow of abundance begins, when you let go of the struggle and open yourself up to receive the blessings God has already prepared for you. Now, let's reflect on how this transformation happens. When you surrender, you are essentially saying, God, I trust you. I trust that your plan is better than anything I could have planned. I trust that you know what is best for me, and I am ready to receive it. That act of trust is what opens the door to transformation. No longer will you feel the weight of constantly fighting and struggling. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing faith over fear. It means choosing to trust God with your future instead of clinging to your own plans. And when you do this, you create the space for God's abundance to flood into your life. This isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about aligning yourself with God's will and trusting that He will direct your steps. When you align yourself with God's plan, everything begins to fall into place effortlessly. Things you once thought were impossible will now come to you with ease. Opportunities you never expected will appear before you, and you will begin to see God's provision in every area of your life. This is the power of surrender, allowing God to take the reins and trusting that He will lead you to your best life. It's time to stop the struggle. God knows you are tired. You are exhausted from constantly fighting, striving, and trying to do everything on your own. But this is your invitation to release that struggle and to trust that God has it all under control. When you surrender, you step into a life of peace, flow, and effortless success. No more pushing, no more forcing. Just trust. God knows the way, and He is waiting for you to stop fighting and start walking in faith, knowing that the life you've always desired is waiting for you when you trust His timing and His plan. It's time to surrender. It's time to trust. And it's time to receive everything God has prepared for you. When you release control, you step into the life you were always meant to live. Now, I want you to take a deep breath, pause for a moment, and reflect. Think about everything that has brought you to this point. Think about the decisions you've made, the paths you've chosen, and the struggles you've faced. Let yourself feel everything you've been through, all the highs, the lows, the victories, and the setbacks. Reflect on what you've been doing, and more importantly, reflect on what you need to stop doing. Take a deep look at your life. Are there areas where you've been resisting God's plan? Have you been holding on to things that no longer serve you? Things that are not aligned with your divine purpose? Maybe you've been chasing after dreams that were never meant to be yours. Maybe you've been stuck in patterns of struggle, fighting against the current instead of going with the flow of life that God has designed for you. God knows the struggles you've faced, and He knows how much you've tried to make things work on your own. But now, it's time for you to stop resisting and start trusting. It's time to let go. This is your moment. Your time to release. Let go of the past. Let go of the mistakes, the disappointments, and the failures that have held you back. Let go of the guilt that has weighed you down, the regrets that have been holding you hostage. Let go of the struggle, the need to constantly fight, to constantly prove yourself, to constantly strive for things that have never truly aligned with who you are meant to be. It's time to stop the struggle and step into a life of ease, peace, and divine fulfillment. Letting go is not easy. It requires trust. Trust that God knows what's best for you. Trust that His plan is greater than anything you could have imagined for yourself. For so long, you've held on to the belief that you have to control everything. You felt that if you don't hold everything together, it will all fall apart. But God knows the path you need to walk, and He's ready to guide you. His plan is designed for your good, and it's time to let go of the control that has been keeping you from walking in the flow of His abundance. As you let go, you begin to experience peace. The kind of peace that comes from trusting God's timing and knowing that everything is falling into place, even if you can't see it yet. Peace that comes from knowing that the struggle is over. It's time to stop fighting against life. It's time to surrender to God's will and trust that the best is yet to come. When you release the need to control every detail of your life, you allow God to step in and guide you with His perfect wisdom. And the moment you do that, you start to feel a weight being lifted. You begin to feel lighter. You start to experience the flow of blessings that have always been there, waiting for you. God knows what's best for you, and He has already prepared everything you need. All you need to do now is receive. So, here's the question. What would it look like for you to trust completely in God's plan? Imagine letting go of the fear of uncertainty. Imagine trusting that God already knows what you need, when you need it, and how it will all unfold. What if you didn't have to worry about the next step? What if you didn't have to chase after success, approval, or validation anymore? God knows your heart. He knows your deepest desires, your hopes, your dreams, and even your fears. And He's been with you through it all, leading you, guiding you, even when you didn't realize it. Now, He's inviting you to trust in His plan for you. His plan is far greater than anything you could ever imagine. And the moment you begin to trust that plan, the doors to your destiny will begin to open. This is where your breakthrough begins. God knows how to bring your dreams to fruition. You've been trying to make them happen on your own, but the truth is you can't do it alone. You don't have to. God is here to help you achieve the things you've been dreaming about. He's ready to lead you to the life you've always desired. But first, you need to release the control and surrender to His guidance. The life you've been searching for has always been within reach. For so long, you've been working hard, striving, struggling, and pushing yourself towards something that always seemed just out of reach. But what if I told you that the life you've always desired is already here, waiting for you to step into it? God has already prepared this life for you. You've been trying to create it on your own, but now it's time to embrace it. When you stop doing what you shouldn't be doing, when you stop chasing, stop struggling, and stop forcing things, you allow space for God's blessings to flow into your life. God knows your heart, and He knows exactly what you need. He knows your desires, and He's ready to make them come true. But first, you must surrender to His plan. Stop fighting. Start receiving. It's time to stop the endless chase. It's time to stop struggling. You've been trying so hard for so long, but God knows the way. The path to your fulfillment is already set. All you have to do now is walk in faith and receive the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. Your breakthrough is here. Your new life is waiting for you. And the best part? You don't have to fight for it anymore. All you have to do is trust. This is your moment. The moment you let go. The moment you trust. The moment you receive. The life that God has planned for you is greater than anything you could ever dream of. No more chasing. No more worrying. No more struggling. Just faith and trust that God knows what's best for you. Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine the life that's waiting for you. What does it look like? Peace, joy, abundance? It's all yours. God knows the desires of your heart, and He's ready to give you more than you could ever imagine. You just need to surrender. So take this moment right now to say, God, I trust you. I surrender my fears, my struggles, and my need for control. I trust that your plan is greater than anything I could have imagined. I am ready to receive all the blessings you have in store for me. And as you surrender, watch as your life transforms. Watch as doors open effortlessly. Watch as the life you've always dreamed of unfolds before your eyes.